As you know, me and Plesio are on an Ark server together, and it's a Trollcraft server. So I think you can guess what's going on here. So I'm going to his base right now. I'm gonna make him all pink. It's gonna be awesome. Oh my gosh. Wow, it looks so good. Wow. Wow. Oh, we do a bit of trolling. Oh my, that looks just disgusting. Oh, you're welcome, Plesio. I see you have a cryo fridge here with a lot of stuff. No exceptions. Every single one of his dinos. Let's wait for these guys to wake up while I go do whatever the hell I want to do. Do I read Solo Leveling? Dude, oh my gosh. I read it when it only had 20 chapters. I love Solo Leveling so much. Ever since, I had the most depressing job in the world. I was working at 14 at a snow cone shack, and I was getting paid under minimum wage, and I was also taking care of a grandmother with Alzheimer's, and she wasn't even my grandma, by the way. If you think that's my grandma, you're wrong. It was not my grandma. It was somebody else's grandma that I was taking care of at that shop. And a baby, a newborn infant. It was a very strange job. Anyway, during that time in my life, I wanted to die a lot. And I really didn't find anything enjoyable. And I had read a little bit of manga. My first manga was like Pan Long or something, which I read at a camp for mentally disabled people that I went to. I was a volunteer. I'm not mentally disabled. I was a volunteer. While I was there, I read Pan Long, this martial arts manga, and I thought it was sick. So I was kind of into manga. And then, oh my gosh, while I'm working at the snow cone place, on my break, I start to read Solo Leveling. And oh, my eyes are open. There were only 20 chapters at the time, so I read the light novel. I've already like finished the light novel. It's so good. The Shadow Monarch. Oh my gosh, he's sick. I even printed out at the time a manga panel that I have in my room of a bunch of mangas that I thought that were gonna blow up, and one of them was Solo Leveling. And I have the dates written on the back of when I got the panels. I think I got that when there was like 50 chapters out of Solo Leveling. Oh, I love it. I can get really into books. I'm a big book guy. And just even reading it, I was like, I had so much anticipation waiting for Thomas to get clapped. You guys want me to tell you the stories of my youth? Even though I'm only 17. I've had quite the crazy life. You want me to tell you my stories, guys? This is gonna become a story time. Since I got into my job in my camp. Which do you want to hear? Do you want to hear about the mentally disabled camp? You want to hear about my job as a carbon fiber manufacturer, or do you want to hear about my job as a snow cone man? Funny camp people? Okay, well, you see, this is an interesting story. So here's what happened. There I am. Here I am going to this camp called Joni and Friends. And if you don't know who Joni Erickson Tada is, she is a woman who got in a diving accident. She went diving with friends and got paralyzed throughout her whole body. Despite that, she became a great painter. Lots of respect for that. I got to talk to her and I met her in person. Good lady, nice lady. She decided she empathizes with those with either mental disability, and any problem with that, and stuff like that, you know? This lady has this camp that you can go to, that you can volunteer at, right? It still costs money to go there, but you volunteer. You get to go in like a little, it's promised like a nice little cottage, and you know, for a week you help out a disabled person called your buddy. And it could either be just, you know, they're a normal person who can't move properly, or they can move properly and they have like a mental illness. I go there, right? The cottage was not what it looked like at all. The place had bugs everywhere, cockroaches. The walls were made of wood. It would literally look like I don't know, like a kid made it, dude. Did you have to wipe their butt? No. There are people who had to do that. I was lucky enough to get, because I don't know how to handle people with Down syndrome very well. I don't know how to handle them. I was lucky enough to work with this great kid who had ADHD, right? And his name was Philip. And I'm not gonna lie, this kid was freaking awesome. All right, he was awesome. I mean, he couldn't hold a thought worth anything, but like neither can I. But he was really bad. And you know, basically you'd have to like force him to eat his food. Like you wouldn't have to force feed him with your hand, but you'd have to like hold him in his chair. Like you'd have to like hold him like down in the chair. It'd be like, eat your food or we cannot go play tennis. And he'd be like, okay. And he'd like start eating and then you'd let go for half a second and he would just stop eating, bolt in like a random direction and like run into the kitchen. And I don't know. He had really bad like ADD or ADHD or whatever it was. And he could not pay attention to anything, not even eating. So it was very hard to get the man to eat. But little Mans was having a great time. He loved tennis. He knew way more about tennis than I did. And he was probably better than me at tennis. And he was like 7. And I was like his homie. It was pretty based. I was his homie. I would take him around. He would run, and I would have to run full speed just to catch this little guy. This little guy would run like 1,000,000 miles an hour, like a little gremlin, and I'd have to like after him and grab him to stop him from harassing the nearby people. I did have, since I was a new helper, and at the time I was only like 16, right? No, I wasn't even 16. I was like 15, right? They didn't want me to have just this guy alone because I'm just a 15-year-old. So I had an adult guy with me. So we had 2 helpers on this kid, right? This adult guy, probably hated me. I'm not going to lie, because I wasn't much help. I didn't know how to help, and my family were the ones who wanted to help, but they didn't really know what they were doing. I didn't really know what I was doing, but this guy knew what he was doing. This is like his 5th time at the camp. He knew how to take care of these like kids and stuff, and I was just like trying my best. But yet Philip, despite that, liked me more than him, because you know it was kind of like a good cop, bad cop type of thing. Because Philip, you know, he didn't like when he was scolded, and I was never the guy who scolded him. It was always the responsible guy who would scold him. So I was like the savior who would save him from getting scolded, is I guess in his eyes, right? And this kid was awesome. All right, basically. This is the big finale, right? At the end of the week, everybody has this, oh wow, they had this show and tell at the end of the week. And for show and tell, man, for show and tell, it's a bunch of mentally problematic children doing show and tell. So I'm talking people with Down syndrome singing, you know, and it just does not sound like the song. It was cool. It was a cool moment. But anyway, Philip was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I want to be a cook. And he changed his idea last second. His mom is the sweetest lady I've ever seen in my life, right? So Philip's mom goes, okay, you want to be a cook? What do you want to cook? He goes, popcorn. I like popcorn. Popcorn yummy. And I'm like, all right, Philip, that's based and that's easy to do. Let's make popcorn for show and tell, right? And he's like, I don't just want to make popcorn for me. I want to make popcorn for everyone. And there are at least 200 people in this crowd, all right? And I'm thinking his mom is gonna go, Philip, you know, you can't make popcorn for everyone. She goes, okay, Philip. And she goes to the store and comes back with like freaking like 100 bags of popcorn. It was insane. And so she cooked all of them beforehand and left one for Philip to cook. And Philip was supposed to go up on the stage and cook it. And then his mom would come out with like this wheelbarrow filled with popcorn. It was crazy. And basically Philip, he came up on stage and I was up there to help him in case he just randomly in the middle of the speech decided to stop speaking and run in a direction, because that's what he did. And he tried to do that multiple times, but after he stopped doing that, he would come back to his senses and then he would continue the speech. But halfway through the speech, he just stopped talking. And I'm just up here on stage with this kid named Philip, who's like 7, a microwave and popcorn. And the popcorn is popping in the microwave. And he was supposed to give this speech about what's happening to the popcorn. And I was like, come on, Philip. Just tell him. Like nudging him, you know, like tell him, you know, you practice. And we like practice and everything. And he's just like, like he had like major stage fright or whatever. And he's just like looking at the crowd and he starts bolting in a random direction. And I'm just on stage having to round him down. And I bring him back and I sit him there. And eventually he did run off stage. He got away from me and the helpers, and he got outside the door. Luckily, the big man stern guy helper that I had helped, and he got him. And so, because he was in the very back of the room, so he got him. And I was like, woo, got him. He didn't escape, but he might have not escaped, but he was not going back on stage. And there was just popcorn in the microwave, so everybody was a little confused. There were like 200 people in the crowd that were just a little confused. Philip was crying. He was very upset. And his mom came to calm him down, right? His mom came to calm him down and was like, Philip, it's okay. She's like, you know, you don't have to do it. I can do the rest of it. And this kid, mind you, does not have Tourette's. Okay, he does not have Tourette's. But he does have ADD. So while his mother is comforting him, he freaks out and starts screaming at her and calling her a slut. And I'm just standing there. Like my hands in my khaki shorts looking like, what do I say? I'm like, what do I do? And you know, me and the stern guy are both like, whoa, and we're like very based Philip. And so me and him both like put our hands on Philip's shoulder and we're like, hey man, you don't call your mom that, man. We're like, hey man, you know, that's a really mean word. You don't call your mom that. And then he was like, she's a bitch. And then he finally calmed down. Yeah, How to Treat a Woman, a presentation by Philip. Yes, absolutely. And he finally calmed down. And after he calmed down, all was fine. And he went out, he finished the speech, everybody got popcorn, and I was like, woohoo! And I thought it was over. I thought that's all I had to do for the week. I went back to my room. I'm taking a shower. I get a knock on the door. I get out of the shower, like in a freaking flash, open the door, and it's my stern helper guy. He's like, the day's not over. And I'm like, shoot. I just like ditched him, and I didn't even mean to. And he's gonna hate me so much now, especially considering what I did before. So I wouldn't help him the rest of the day, but what I did before to that guy by accident, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. This guy trusted me to get something out of his dorm room, right? His cabin was right next to my cabin. And he was like, yeah, dude, could you get me like this water bottle or whatever from my room real quick? So I'll watch Philip. And I'm like, I got you, bro. I got you. You know, like trying to be like Chad. I'm like, I got you, dude, anytime, man. This is like before he had any opinions of me, right? This is my first impression. I go to his room, right? I set the keys on the counter. I look around for his water bottle. I find it. I walk out and I lock the door behind me. His key's still inside. So I come up to him. I give him his water bottle, right? The day's over. We're all going back. It's like nighttime. We're all tired. We're all going back to our cabins, right? He goes, hey, do you see my keys? Did you give me my keys back? And I go, oh no. And I go, dude, I'm not gonna lie right now. I left your keys inside of your house. You're locked out of your house in the middle of the night, and it's like 1,000,000 degrees out, and you're super tired, and I just locked you out of your house. And he just looks at me with like this look, and I'll never forget it. It's the look of disgust. And I stand there like, oh, I messed up. Oh, I messed up big time, you know? And yeah, I don't think he liked me after that, because he had to wait for his, luckily he had a roommate. He had to wait for his roommate to get there. He came even later at night. His roommate is in a wheelchair. He's completely mentally capable. He just can't move his legs, right? And the dude was like, what's up? And he's like, this dude locked me out of my house. And his roommate had to let him in. But it was all my bad. And I apologized to him so much the next day. And he was like, it's fine, but it totally was not fine. And he totally hated me. He absolutely hated me. And I could tell, because at the end of the camp, when I was talking to Joni Erickson Tada, because she's a celebrity, I thought that was cool that I talked to a celebrity. That was cool to me. After I talked to her, all the youth people were just told to gather themselves and talk to each other. And I was like, okay. So I just kind of stood by him and tried talking to like his friends and his friend group. And it was so awkward. Every time I talked, they would just kind of like look at me. Like, shut up, you know? Yeah, Philip's an alpha, dude. Philip knows what's up, dude. He knows how to treat women, dog. Another thing about Philip is he was a ladies' man. Philip was a ladies' man. He loved the ladies. He really did. And I'm not gonna lie, Philip Specifically, my sister, because I have a sister. She's been on stream before. My sister was, young too, so she had an adult helper. My sister's adult helper would hang out with my adult helper, which was great because I wanted to hang out with my sister. So we would hang out together, and so would my sister and her adult helper's patient. And the patient, aka what they would call the buddy, is this is a Down syndrome girl. And this girl cannot move either. She's like in one of those wheelchair things you have to move with like your hand, and they can barely move their hand. It was a bad state. And so they had to help her a lot. She was very dependent on them, so they're constantly helping that girl, right? Understandable. But Philip really liked my sister's adult helper. And my sister's adult helper, I guess she was a nice girl. So Philip mistook her niceness to this 7-year-old, because this girl's like 20, as love at first sight. Philip really thought he loved this lady a lot. And he would get very embarrassed every time she showed up. His face would be like blushing. She thought it was cute, but her going at Philip did not help Philip. It made him even more spastic and would make him bolt in a random direction every time he saw her. It was very chaotic. But eventually we had this thing. We had this thing called the roundhouse dance, right? And it was like a country square dance thing going on, And this country square dance thing, Philip wanted to take the lady out for a dance. He wanted to take the adult helper girl out for a dance, right? And here's the thing's get interesting. She has to help the girl who literally can't move and has Down syndrome. So she's like, sorry, Philip, I can't dance with you. I'm busy dancing with, let's call her Amy, because I don't know her name. Amy's having a good time. Philip is not. He's very upset. I'm like, you don't want to dance with me, Philip? I got square dance, Philip. You want to see? You want to see? And I was like, bow, bow, bow. And I broke out some moves for Philip. He did not want to see me break out some moves, dog. And you know what happened? Philip got so upset that he went to the mini golf course instead of doing the dance. And I was like, okay, that's fine. You want to play mini golf? That's fine. He did not want to play mini golf. Instead, he wanted to grab a mini golf club and run at Amy, the disabled Down syndrome girl, and beat her with the golf club. But no, we stopped him before he did. But he had that thing raised and ready to swing. He was ready to attack. Like, he was ready. And we had to have a very stern talking to Philip. And Amy did not know what was going on. Amy had no clue what was going on. But Amy and Philip ended up becoming friends at the end. So it all works out in the end. Yeah, Amy ain't do nothing wrong. Free him. Free my girl Amy. She ain't do nothing wrong, all right? She ain't do nothing wrong. Free her. But that's the end of that story. That's the end of the camp story. That's basically everything that happened today.